Hello, this is Mackie. This is a continuation video of my restoration of Panasonic RC-6493. I'd taken it apart and had a problem with the motor. We got the motor running, and the issue was trying to get original lights for the clock. My issue also was what color were the lights. I've seen some people restore this and they used white lights, but if you can see, this is the radio dial, and the radio dial is green. Now, I guess they could have had a white light over the numbers and the date, and then a green dial, but that didn't make much sense. Now, I saw a recent clock on YouTube where, to me, the lights looked greenish, kind of greenish yellow. And if you look here, my lights are actually still burning, and I didn't realize that at first. But now what we've got is almost a greenish on the ends and orange in the middle. So what we're seeing here is the lights in the process of failing. You can see that one flickering pretty good. And they surely wouldn't have orange on the numbers and green on the dial. It makes total sense that it would be one green on the numbers and then the green on the dial. That would make sense. So what I've acquired a light, which to me it initially looked like the similar light until I plugged them on. I thought, well, this is going to be a white light. Well, in fact, when you energize this, it's 120 volt. It is a nice green glow. It is AC 120 volt. And it's got its own external resistor there built in. So now it's slightly smaller, but I think it's going to be just fine because the only thing that's different on this bulb here is that it has an extra point on the glass so that it would fit through this hole. There's a hole here. I just don't think it's necessary because there's two lights. There's one separate one for the date. That one's almost completely orange, you see. So I don't think that's going to be an issue, the way it's going to hold. It has metal that's going to wrap around here, right here. It's going to wrap around the wire, and the bulb's going to be centered right over where it needs to be. So that's where the light is normally. This one I have not taken off, and obviously no one else has either. You see the light is centered right over the middle of the dial. So okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a restoration where I replace those two lights, and the next portion of this video should show a beautiful clock, we hope. Okay, we're kind of right in mid restoration here, and what I've done is I've gone ahead and replaced this bulb. The video is not showing its true color. It's a deeper green than what it's showing here. Anyway, I've tried to use the original tubes. I've put a little secret sauce in here, this black stuff. They tend to like to use this black stuff. I can't tell you what that is. It's a secret. Actually, it's just liquid tape. And I probably could have used shrink wrap and it would probably have been better, but I wanted to keep it kind of original as best I could. But anyway, in the middle of doing this, I noticed over here that there's another, obviously this is going to be another light that's going down in through here, and it's probably going to light up this alarm selector. I've tried to see if I could just pull that out. That's not going to happen. So I'm going to have to take this screw, this little nut, and then there's a screw down here. If we can see that, a screw here and a screw under here that I'm going to have to take off. That's not to be messed with. That's actually, it's kind of solid in there, and it's a little plastic thing that's going to impact this wheel. That's the selector, and that kind of gives it the, as I'm turning this selector, that's the thing that gives it that sound and makes it have a stop to it. So I'm going to have to take a break in the or go a different route here. I'm going to have to disassemble this and probably go ahead and change that light. I'm guessing that it is also a green light. So I'll go ahead and do that, and it should be straightforward. If I run into any problems, I'll go ahead and add it to the video, but otherwise I'll go ahead and try to do that one and this one and keep on trucking. Alright, we got down into it, and I went ahead and took off this part here. It turned out this is the side of it. There was a little light resting there. It was energized, and when it was energized, it had a nice green glow, so it kind of confirms that it was definitely lit by green light. And that's the leads I've taken off. I'm going to solder in the light we used for the other. It's a kind of an intermediary between both of them. It's just a little bit larger than this one. It's going to fit fine right in this area here, and so this replacement bulb is going to work for all of them, it looks like. This wasn't that tricky to get that off. There were 2 bolts and then 2 screws, 2 bolts, I had to take a little gear off of here. It was connected with a half moon clip. It's on a post or axle or whatever you want to call it rod. It goes all the way back to the gears that come right off the motor. So I've got to replace that. I was meeting a little bit of resistance when I was test fitting it back on to make sure I knew what I was going to do. But I think there's a couple issues. First of all, when I put this back on, I think you're going to have to make sure that it fits in like that, so it engages for whatever time it is approximately. It's engaging at the right time, so when I reassemble that. The other thing we have to remember is that this device that causes the clicking is spring loaded. It's going to have to be drawn back before it goes inside of on the interior part of that wheel to engage those little gear looking things on the inside. It causes the click and causes that to not spin around uncontrolled. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the new light, and hopefully reassembly will go well. If it doesn't, we have a major snafu. You'll never know because you'll never see this video. So hopefully the next time I come back, we'll have a clock that's getting closer. Okay, we're in an interim state here where I've got the light for the date and the day in. I've got the light for the alarm bell in. It went in okay, and it's working fine. That was a little tricky. That's not for the faint of heart. It's not going to take a NASA engineer to do it, but that spring-loaded part I was talking about that makes the clock click when you turn the dial, that was giving me some trouble. So what I ended up doing was taking some monofilament and looping it around that thing, pulling it through, and then taping it to here so that it had it drawn back. Once I got this installed, I undid the tape, and I used Gorilla Tape, product placement, and then I was just able to pull that monofilament out, and then you can hear that it's definitely captured it. Interestingly enough, this little light here started working. I think that's probably either going to be a 6 volt or a 12 volt, probably similar to the lights used in the Back to the Future and the Groundhog Day clocks. But it just started working. I do not know why. I have no earthly idea. I'm not going to mess with it. It's just a little. What it does is it lights up, and it's going to light up a little red dot on the side, I guess, to show the clock's functioning. So here we are. We're now we're going to get to replace the other light up in there. So far so good. Again, this little bugger's a little tricky. I still got to get that little gear on, so I haven't got that gear back in place. And it looks to me like that gear works to control the sleep function. Some people used to like to set the sleep, so you could set it, and then 60 minutes later it went off. So I've got to get that little gear back on. Shouldn't be any problem. Okay, then now I think I'll come back and show you the finished clock. Yeah, it's like I'm never going to get done with this video, but there's a couple things. I think it's going to be really important for people who are trying to restore this, especially if you end up getting a light bulb from me, if you're a member of flipclockfans.com forum. If you get it, or if you buy one off of eBay. This is the original, again, untouched. It needs to be replaced, and you can see the bulb, that little nipple on the end there fits right in that circle to hold that bulb in place. But what I was able to do here is, if you take that, it's light metal. If you take that metal, all you gotta do is push it in a little bit, and it engages that nipple on that end too, just fine. You can see that light centered directly over the two, between the two spindles there, between the two wheels. You just push that in, and it impacts that fine. I thought I was going to have to rig something, but no, it works just fine. The videos are already are helping me. I've had to review here where some of these things went, like this this tube here. I wasn't quite sure how it flows, but it does. It flows right over top of this one, and then there's a circuit board that fits over top. So, okay, I just wanted to show you that there, because I would probably talk about it later. But yeah, that tab there, once you put the new bulb in, you just push it right down. It feels like it's made out of aluminum, and it does just fine. So okay, here we go. All right, I'm getting ready to close up now, and this thing is really, really screwed up. No, I mean, it's really screwed down. This thing has so many screws that if you start disassembling this thing, I want you to get baggies, label them, and start saying label where you're getting the screws from. It's incredible the number of screws that connect this thing down. I still haven't even got the the clock mount screws in yet, but well, there's some tricks to getting this back together. This was completely disassembled so that I could clean the cabinet really good. The transformer, if you're wondering, go ahead and get that in before you get the clock in. Okay, I found that out the hard way. It won't fit unless you do that. It's just a lot of messing around to get this back in here. I neglected in my very first video, it's not part of this series, but is before this video, I've neglected to tell you to get the whole thing out, you do have to cut the power cord. So I cut the power cord right before it goes into this first circuit board, and I've just went ahead and put the blue nuts on there instead of soldering it back into the circuit board. I'm thinking if I have to change these lights again, I don't want to keep cutting and resoldering that board and keep getting that heated up. So, plus it was high temperature solder, and I didn't feel like messing around with it. So, I didn't want any problems with heat damage, but that's completely safe, and it's going to allow me to change the bulbs again. So, okay, all right, we're going to close this all up, and then we're going to energize, and we're going to see if we got some pretty lights. Okay, the restoration's complete. Turned out really good. I've got the lighting in. I've just gotten off the horn with someone else who's got one of these clocks, and they confirmed that the light is greenish for them. These are new lights, so it's a little more green. And when the radio's on, the dial lights up green, and then in the dark you can see the alarm light. It's hard to see right now, but behind the alarm selector is lit up. When the alarm is set, a little indicator light comes on. It's got a kind of a chirpy alarm. That's for the radio.
Got some damn good news about the Scorpions.
Okay, so everything works. I did have some trouble with the sleep selector, where you can turn it on and music will play for 30 or 60 minutes. I had some trouble with that. I had to take it apart again. It turned out really good. This is a restoration that's not for the timid. It did take me a while. Getting those lights was a shot in the dark. No pun intended. I had to buy from a bulk vintage parts dealer, and didn't even know what color the lights were when I bought them, and I did get really lucky there. So that's the end of the restoration. Thanks for watching, and come visit us at Flip Clock Fans.